Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's DJ Shaw, One King Legend, coming at you with another one here. Alright, so this is a very short and sweet video. Alright, so if you're wondering why your speakers are burning, if you've had problems with woofers frying or tweeters or mid-range, what have you, here's a quick fix on how to stop that. Alright, so a lot of us have purchased these cheaper Chinese amplifiers, and they're not for everyone. Alright, these are not for the beginner. You have to know what you're doing, alright, especially if you don't have a technician. You know, you have to really know how to adjust that gain knob. Alright, it is not a volume knob. These are not considered volume knobs. Okay, if you want more, you don't just turn it all the way up and say, okay, I'm gonna get more volume out of it. Alright, as I've explained before, you have to know how to set your gain properly. Alright, these newer amplifiers are not as stable as these older amplifiers. Alright, so you know, like the older guys will say, turn your gain all the way up. You know, open the amplifier up. You know, let it all out, right? You know, so the amplifier can breathe or whatever. You know, play what it has to play so you can get the fullness out of the amplifier. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you know, yes, that was once the case. All right, these older amplifiers, you know, the QSC kind of changed that game, because when the QSC came around, everyone thought they can turn it all the way up as they did with the Crown, and that's not the case. Because first of all, this clip light will drive you crazy. Okay, it will clip like crazy and even go into protection mode. All right, so the QSC kind of changed that that idea of opening your amplifier up. Now if you do have like more expensive amplifiers, like the older Crest models, you know, lab grouping, maybe you know, some power soft, whatever the case may be, you can open them up. Alright, but when it comes to these cheaper Chinese amplifiers, that's the craze right now, everyone's getting. There's nothing wrong with them, you know, in a sense of using them for what we do, right? You just have to know how to set your gain properly, alright? Because a lot of guys, they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to turn these halfway or even maxed out. And you can do halfway, depends on the situation, alright? I know on the CVR you can go halfway and you're okay. You know, your clip light and all that will be okay. But the K series, AdMarks, whatever the case may be, the situation may be different. All right. You know, I've heard people getting their expensive woofers burnt up from these amplifiers. Right. These amplifiers are just not as stable as these older amplifiers. All right. You have to understand. You know, it's like a wild cannon, you know what I mean? It's like cutting a shotgun nozzle off, you know what I mean? I mean, it's gonna shoot everywhere, you know what I mean? So these amplifiers can more fire in a straight line, you know, their sine waves is more perfect versus these amplifiers, which are just unstable as hell. You know, you don't know how it's gonna fire, you know what I mean? So you have to be careful and set your gain properly. Otherwise, you'd be asking for some trouble, all right? I mean, you know, 15,000 watts, whatever the case, whatever they're rated at these days, you know, you can take away a lot of that. You know, maybe 5,000 watts is the most, and it's unstable as hell, so you have to be careful with it. They're very hot. I mean, just cracking it, whatever, you're gonna get a lot out of it, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, these you can open up like you're opening up a spigot, a faucet. You know, you turn them in, you're gonna get a little bit of water as you turn it. But with these amplifiers, as soon as you crack it, it's like almost like you turn the spigot halfway. So it's not the traditional a little bit, and you know, you get a little bit of whatever. You may be halfway, and the damn thing want to fluctuate on its own and spike. You know what I mean? So you can't treat these amplifiers as you would these amplifiers, if that makes sense. All right, so with this, I can do this, but I dare you to do this with your amplifier. Okay, totally different situation. All right, so there you have it. You know what I mean? That's why you're burning your speakers up, all right? Because you have to be very, very careful with that gain knob, okay? Because they're very hot, all right? Their sine wave is not as perfect as a Crown or Power Soft or Lab Grouping or, you know, any of those expensive amplifiers. You know, they're very unstable, all right? CVR do claim that they have the most stable amplifier out there, the most stable. That's their claim. You know, I'm gonna take their word on it as a Crown, but you know, you can't beat it for the price. For the price of what they are, it's affordable. Everyone can get in the game and get the job done, as if you spent you know, $1 million on your amplifier. Okay, so that's just a very quick tip for those newcomers who don't know, who just getting in the game and they want to go and buy a bunch of Chinese amplifiers. You know, this is just letting you know that you have to be very, very careful on how you adjust your gain, okay? Just because it goes all the way around doesn't mean that you can play that way, all right? You know, these amplifiers right here, most likely even the Admarks play great at 11 o'clock position or halfway. I know the CVR is good at halfway. All right, so that's just a quick tip, and I'll catch you on the next one.